Well, good afternoon, my friends. I just wanted to jump on real quick and make a real quick video on the tailored buttonhole stitch. I have gotten the question from one of my viewers this week. Plus, I have also seen it asked on one of the Facebook groups. Now, the question was there a buttonhole stitch that will look the same from both sides of the fabric, like from the front and from the back? And to the best of my knowledge, that would be the tailored buttonhole stitch, which is what I stitched a little bitty sample of here. And this is the front. Okay, and when you flip it over, this is the back. But I believe once it's here we go. Okay, once it's washed, it's going to look virtually the same from the back, because what happens is you get, and this is a little hard to see, and I'm sorry about that, you get these little knots that go across the top. Okay, so once this is washed, these little fuzzies are going to draw back up into the buttonhole stitch, because this is cotton, remember, and it shrinks a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to execute this stitch. It is a little different than what you're accustomed to in your normal, I say normal, but in the blanket stitch or buttonhole stitch that we usually do on a piece of hardhanger. So this, let me turn it over for you again. It's kind of sort of, the way I think about it is it's a little bit backwards, but it is not difficult to do. So let me show you how to do that. Let me show you how to go around the corners. And like I said, this is going to be a real quick one. Okay, so we start our thread the same way we start any of our threads in hardhanger. I'll try and stay. So I'm going to put an away thread. Now with this, normally you're working your buttonhole stitch right to left. This one you work left to right. Okay, so that's why to me it seems backwards. So I'm going to put in an away thread. Now, normally you're going to come up at the bottom of your stitch and work to the top. In this stitch, you're going to come, well, when you start your thread without pulling it all the way through, you're going to start at the top of your stitch. Okay? So I'm going to leave a tail. So what I'm going to do is go down through my fabric, count down my 4 threads, 2, 3, and 4. When I do that, I make sure that my working thread is behind the needle, and I bring it down, and I'll show, normally it's easier if you do this, not by having to do it this way. And I bring it down that my needle comes out on top of it. Okay? So behind the needle, lay it to the bottom. Your needle goes over it. You bring your needle through, and your thread, obviously. And you see how it starts to form a loop? You bring that loop and you pull it to the top. Okay, so now you have a little knot. So your next stitch, now what I have found works the easiest for me is I lay my thread and I lay it on the bottom so that it's already looped around. And then I take my needle and I do my 4. I'll pull that tight again because I made it loose so I could see. Okay, so now my thread is underneath. I will bring my needle up on top of my working thread. I'll pull everything through, and then I will pull my loop to the top. Now, honestly, I think this is 28 count fabric, but I honestly don't remember. But I'm using size 12 pearl cotton so that you can see it just a little bit better, the stitches. Okay, so now we'll do the same thing again. And this is what you keep doing, all right? So, thread at the top. And once you get going with this, you'll have it figured out that how you can flip things around, that you can do this without a lot of fussing like I'm doing here and demonstrating. Okay, so I have it flipped around. My needle goes in at the top, out at the bottom. It's on top of the thread. And it's on top of the thread again. Okay, pull your needle through. Plus, it doesn't help that I only have a little tiny piece of fabric here. Okay, pull it through, bring it to the top, and tighten it all up. Okay, that's all there is to it. The tricky part could be going around your corners. Okay, but you're going to do the corners in the same sequence that you did them when you were using the other buttonhole stitch. Okay, so I'm going to show you a rounded corner. And a rounded corner we do by counting out 2 threads. So I'm just going to loosen that a little bit so I can see. I'm going to count out 2 threads. I'm going to put my needle down. All right, I'm going to position my working thread. Now, if you remember, your corners share the holes. So I'm going to come up in my shared hole. I'm going to make sure my working thread is underneath the needle. Okay, I'm going to pull it through. And just like the others, I'm going to bring the knot to the top and tighten it up. All right, now we know that the next one is over 1 thread and down 1 thread. So I'll do the same thing. Okay, make sure my working thread is behind the needle. And again, I don't know why my hands are so clumsy today. Again, behind the needle, pull it through, and bring my knot to the top. Okay. And then you have one last time, so my thread does not want to cooperate today. There we go. Okay. Over 1 thread, down 1 thread. Okay. Second, I got myself tangled here. Get this out of the way. There we go. Over 1 thread, down 1 thread. Your working thread is always underneath your needle. Bring it through, knot to the top. Okay, so it really is just the same way as we've been doing it using the I'm not going to say traditional because I don't know that it's necessarily traditional, but using the other method of buttonhole stitch that I taught you when we learned hardanger. And then the last one, we're going to position, and we're going to go straight out 4 threads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Share the same hole. Working thread is underneath. Needle comes out on top. Okay, so there, pull your knot to the top. Okay, so there's your corner. Again, it always helps to put that thumb to work. Okay, so now we'll do a couple straight on. And then I'll show you the inside corner, which I had to think about a little bit. Now let's look at an inside corner. Okay, pull your knot to the top. See how it makes this nice little pearl bump across. Now, when I did an inside corner, and hopefully I'm doing these right, I want to share this hole and go this direction. But if I go right back down where I just came up, I am going to pull my thread back through. So what I did was made sure I was on, I didn't go back in that loop. I stayed aside of the loop, but shared the hole. Okay, so let's stay aside of the loop, but share the hole. Here you can see I'm in the same hole. And then I am going to have my working thread in the back. Bring my needle up 4 threads down. Working thread comes around underneath the needle as before. Pull everything through. You have your loop. Pull your loop to the top. Use your thumb. And now you can keep on going in that direction. Okay, so one more time. Needle on top of your thread, working thread. I guess it would have helped if I put my scientific goggles on. Bring your needle up 4 threads down. Working thread is underneath your needle. Pull it through. You have your loop. Pull your loop to the top and tighten it up. So there you have it. Just a real quickie. This is a tailored buttonhole stitch. I hope that helps. And when you cut it out real close, you have, let me see if I can bring you in a bit closer and clearer. There we go. Okay, so there you have the front. Flip it over. There you have the back. And once these little fuzzies move away or reseed themselves, it should look pretty much the same on both the front and the back. You should not be able You should not be able to tell. This is the nearest thing I could figure. Here you can see it on this section a little bit clearer, how it looks the same on, your loops are across the top. Your loops are across the top. So this is the nearest thing I can come up with of having it look the same on both sides. So I hope that helps, and I hope that answers the question for anyone that had questions. And I would say to everybody, give this buttonhole stitch a try, because it is a lot more secure than the buttonhole stitch that we normally do around a piece of hardhanger. Mainly because you got all these little knots at the top. But I certainly am going to give it a go on my pieces, just to test it out. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in my next video. Have a great day, and most of all, have a wonderful New Year's, and may New Year's bring you fulfill all your wishes and dreams for 24. Thanks for joining me, and bye-bye for now.